You're tuned into the It's Real podcast with your hosts, Kayla Andrew and Andrew Yagi. Each week, we'll talk about what happens behind the scenes working full-time in real estate and share with you real-life stories, our successes and failures as we work to help consumers and industry professionals reach their real estate and real-life goals. Here we go.
It's episode 97 of the It's Real podcast. I'm Kayla Andrew, and I'm a mortgage lender.
I'm Andrew Yagi. I'm a real estate agent.
Hey, Andrew. How's it going?
I am fantastic, although it's a little bit cold out. Kayla, how are you doing?
It is very cold out, but I'm doing well. I saw it negative 27 on the forecast for this weekend.
Yikes.
And Andrew, that's without the wind chill, mind you.
Yeah, that sounded very formal, mortgage meteorologist-ish.
You know, in another life, I think I could talk about the barometric pressure and the UV index, but for another day.
I bet you could. Next week, it's Catholic Schools Week, and two of my older two go to Catholic school, and so one of the days we're going to Andes Tower Hills, which is like a ski hill, kind of by Alexandria, and like the last 2 years, it's been like so nice. It's been t-shirt weather pretty much, and I don't think that's going to be the case this year. But it also made me think of your hometown of Walhalla.
Oh boy!
That's the first time I ever went skiing, going to Frostfire Mountain, and I had some friends that were just there and saw some pictures, and that's a pretty awesome looking place these days.
Yeah, I still think it's wild. I never have skied there. I lived there my entire life and never did, but it's, well attended. I remember a lot of Canadians would come over across the border and ski, and all of my friends would ski. And it was, I think they put in, some resources to make it what it is, but, it looks like it's a great time.
Well, I was just looking like all of like the lofts that they have, like, look at these, like they have hot tubs outside and everything.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Like that's pretty incredible.
They've done a lot. Yeah. I should go back up there, visit family. I should really go do that. How cool is that? Good for Walhalla.
Yeah. It looks fun. I would honestly like to go up there and stay there. I think it'd be fun.
I could take you to the family farm and show you where Kayla grew up.
Yeah. We could shoot an episode from the farm.
From the farm, from the two pine trees that we just frequented all the time on the farm. We'll do that in 2027 sometime.
Sounds good. We've got other goals that are not time sensitive that we need to get to, like our webinar, right?
Yes. Yes. Webinar coming, everybody. Hang tight. To be determined, but I would say it'll be out probably within 30 days.
It will be out in 30 days or less.
There you go. Keep an eye out.
So what's new? What's been going on in your life and business and whatever?
Yeah. We knew this would happen, the circle back effect. We talk about it all the time. People get really excited to, hit their New Year's resolutions or goals. And we're seeing a lot of people trickle in after the holidays. I think people are, after the first couple weeks of January, getting settled down. And I'm just seeing such an influx of applications and inquiries and conversations about mortgage happening right now. So I would say that's kind of the biggest thing that I'm seeing in my world, other than just cold weather and this being kind of a Debbie Downer time of year. It's exciting to see people come out of the woodwork for a home loan. So that's exciting. What about you?
Yeah, I would say we had a really busy December. January started off, I think, pretty slow, but now things are really starting to click along. Even like we had an open house this past weekend at a property, and we had 3 groups come through it, which with bad weather and in a rural community, in kind of a unique property, I was pretty impressed with it just from,
nice.
We're not sitting in Fargo, although I know some agents that do them in Horace and have nobody show up. Granted, there's many homes, and even today, open houses aren't what they used to be, just because it's so easy to get a private showing set up. Not to mention photos, video, virtual tours online, so many great digital assets as well.
So would you say that open houses are just no longer as popular as they used to be?
I would say that. I think in general, and, I think a lot of sellers I visit with, they don't want people, just random neighbors, just traipsing through their house. they'd rather have someone set up a private showing. Open houses are, probably better for agents, like if they're looking for active buyers to pick up a potential
Sure.
buyer. That's really where it shines. But every once in a while we sell a house at an open house, though I think statistically it's like less than 8% of homes are sold as a result
Oh,
of an
wow.
open house. But got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
I think
one more tool in the tool chest too.
well, video too. I mean, so many people can virtually tour, and you're seeing all these, just different things online that you can easily see a house and all the details. So that doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, and I'm excited, and I know we were talking off camera a little bit, but just all of the, the AI potential out there, Kayla, and I kind of
Yeah.
showed you something we're working on, especially as we're, lead generating using the online video, and some ways that we're able to use AI, to kind of follow up. It's pretty impressive what's out there.
It is. Tell me, speaking of AI, I think this is just a hot, spicy topic amongst everybody. Now more than ever, it's like, what if I could create an AI tool that could do this? Would you use it? Where do you think a client would draw the line in real estate and mortgage with AI when it comes to conversations? Like, think of your process of a buyer or seller. Think about my process, for example. Client gets introduced to me. I usually have a call, a discovery call. They apply. We have a pre-approval meeting, things like that. You probably have something similar. Where do you think AI could be beneficial or maybe not beneficial today based on how people are accepting of it?
And well, so I mean, I think there are a lot of areas. I think, for an initial conversation, I think, just kind of keeping in mind the spirit of the internet, Kayla, there are a lot of people that, they like to go online to research and to kind of look for options and to kind of self-study a little bit. But most people eventually will pick up the phone for more information or to connect with somebody. I think it's a great tool because I've thought about it as well. And as we've been looking at different AI offerings, having kind of something to allow people to kind of, maybe ask questions in advance to maybe, just start the process, because it can be intimidating for some people just to pick up the phone and call. At which point, maybe it sets an appointment with me or somebody on my team, or in your case, you or one of your team members. As far as drawing the line, I think it depends on the person. I think there are some people that, okay, I don't want to have anything to do with AI. I think there are some individuals that they will tell AI anything. I don't know. Did you ever see this article? I just thought of it. Did you see the gal in Japan who married a virtual partner? She kind of crafted a virtual individual to marry an AI-generated persona and ended up marrying it.
When was that? I never had.
It was just recently.
Wow.
Very, very
I mean,
recently. That's what he looks like, by the way.
it was very handsome. Definitely her type. Wow. Wild. So she just talks to it, like I'm guessing it texts and voice messages it and goes on vacation with it.
I guess so.
Wow. A little much, a little.
There she can see him. She's got to have her glasses on though.
Seems a little weird, but to each their own.
So to answer your question about where do you draw the line and where would people be comfortable with AI, I guess
I would draw the line there.
What do you think?
I love that you say some people are hesitant to pick up the phone. Now more than ever, people are Googling us. They're chat GPTing us. They're trying to research who is Andrew Yagi, who is Kayla Calendar. Why should I use Kayla over these 3 other people? Why should Andrew Yagi list my home? They have the internet at their fingertips to get to learn not just about who we are as professionals, but as people, as humans. And I think that if you are not utilizing social or websites or having the ability for someone to quickly contact you, I think that people are preferring that now just to even get a little bit of information. So I think, in my opinion, you probably have to have some tools built out to help people quickly, or just FAQs, something like that. When I think about searching a product, I don't think about, and this is a product, it's not buying a house, but I think about going online, going on Amazon, reading reviews, going to the website. I think I do my own research, and more people have more tools now. So I think it would be drawing the line more so at some point. you need to have human interaction. At some point, you need to hop on a call, or let's do a Zoom or meet in person. But I think there's a lot of ways that people are more accepting, whether it's a discovery call, an initial phone call to get you on their calendar. I think there's a lot of ways that I feel our industry will be using very, very soon.
Mm-hmm. Kayla, I went to Taco John's a couple of weeks ago, and the when I pulled up to the drive-through, it was AI. It was AI taking my order, and it was close. It got something messed up, so a human had to intervene eventually. But it's going that direction. I talked to another friend who still works in funeral service, and he called the local dispatch for a funeral escort out to the cemetery, and it was AI that took his call and got it to an officer, and he got a call back from someone. So I think it's more and more, I think people are going to be adopting it. And again, it's all about working smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm. Did you get Olays? That's my question.
Of course I got Olays.
Okay.
Question? Here in Fergus Falls, we don't have much compared to Fargo, but we have had a consistent residency of Taco John's, unlike Fargo.
I love that. Well, there is one in Fargo now, isn't there?
I see it just reopened with a different franchisee.
Yeah, I haven't been there, but I'll have to check it out again. I mean, it was gone and the whole world got upset. So yay Fargo.
Right on. Hey, Kayla, I saw, speaking of, kind of relationships, buying, selling, and everything. I saw kind of a funny ad. I don't watch a lot of TV. I probably scroll a little bit too much social media, but did you happen to see this this ad from U-Haul?
I did. Let's talk about it. Let's see it.
Well, let's look at it first.
I want to break up. You know I love you. But love just isn't enough. I want to break up.
What do you think about that ad?
I mean, I would like to go to the comments.
It was a catchy ad, but even more than just being catchy, then you're talking about the number of different corporations. Like AT&T saying respect will help separate that phone bill too. Or Verbo, if you need a place to stay, we've got you. Ocean Spray, we're here for you for when you get back out there. Walmart, we have tissues and ice cream.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Clear Blue's here for you too.
I thought it was a joke because I'm like, all these, big companies are commenting. I'm like, that's genius. It's hilarious. But I do like the play of like the words and then the driving. I think that was really creative marketing, but it was a good ad. I loved it.
I liked it too, I think. And, one of the things, I was just talking to my team about this the other day, Kayla, working in real estate, like a lot of people get excited to work in this business, in mortgage and real estate, thinking, wow, like it's super fun to help people buy a home and reach their real estate goals. But what a lot of people don't realize is there is a tremendous amount of pain behind real estate transactions. Like, the U-Haul ad, breaking up. Hey, somebody's got to move out, got to have something to haul things with. Call U-Haul. I think of a number of times where there's been a death or a divorce, or someone, like I've worked with some individuals where, hey, mom and dad died and now we've got to sell their house, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of pain.
There is. And I think, just thinking about moving out of your house that you've been in with all the memories with your children, or, I think about, growing up and leaving your childhood home. I think there's also, as much as it is exciting to buy new, there is a lot of, bittersweet feelings when it comes to selling a home too. And it's nerve-wracking, and changing your address is hard enough, but there's a lot of emotion that goes into it, and every circumstance is different. It's not a first-time home buyer getting out of an apartment. It's for situations, new job, divorce, death, all of the things. So you're spot on with that. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah. Which is why, I can see why a lot of people, especially when they're facing a difficult time, and having to make a move like that, why it's like, hey, relationships and,
Yeah.
who am I? I'm looking for a recommendation, from a family member or someone who's helping me, navigate, these uncharted waters. But Kayla, also what a lot of people don't think about, or we don't know what we don't know, but a lot of people don't think about or take the time to think like, hey, Kayla just recommended this particular agent to me, but what do I know about that agent? What do I know about that loan officer? And so that's where, like you said just a little bit ago, people are out there, people are researching. Like I've gotten 2 back-to-back calls of people just searching agents on Google today, and people calling. One individual who was referred from someone that I've done business with before, and they no doubt were just looking for a number, but you never know what people are looking for, or that they're researching you. But the thing that I struggle with is people just blindly taking a recommendation, especially, in a time of need, and ending up with a not so good result. That never happens, Kayla.
Happens more than you think. I think people don't know how to research or find out. I mean, is there a place that a client could go when they're referred to Andrew Yagi? How does a client find out how many deals Andy has done? Is there a way for a client to go and research?
To a degree, yes. I mean, so you could probably start with like a chat GPT and probably ask about me, probably ask about you. And just because we do have such a presence, certainly would find some good information, could certainly look at past sales on a place like Zillow or Realtor.com, but that doesn't necessarily tell the full story. There are some agents that have duplicate profiles, or I found even on Zillow for myself that not all of my sales were registering on there necessarily. Of course, Googling, an individual is always a great place to start. When I go on Google and look for Kayla Calendar, what would I find, Kayla? Have I Googled you before?
I mean, I don't
There we
know.
go. I think we find, hey, Kayla's at First International Bank and Trust. She's got 95 5-star reviews, a 4.8 on Facebook. Not bad. Maybe a little more credibility with that 4.8. Lots of reels, LinkedIn, a lot of really, really good things.
I exist.
You exist.
Yeah, and I think
I've got 5 more Google reviews than you do, though.
oh my gosh, you just wait, Andy. I mean, and getting reviews is hard sometimes, like it takes time out of people's day, but a lot of people are going to Google. They're going to, what are they saying? I go and look at when I order something on Amazon, what do the reviews say? I think that's a really big place to start, but I think clients, I'll start asking, a client, are you working with a realtor? And if they say, well, we kind of have one, and I'll say, did you ask how many homes that they've listed? Or I asked a client who is thinking about using another lender, strictly because the product and the rate and the fees, they're like, hey, they're cheaper today. I asked the client, I said, how many loans has that individual done? I don't know who it is. They're out of state. I can pull up numbers for any realtor or lender with Rudder. So I can pull that up. I pulled up the individual. She had done 0 loans in North Dakota, Minnesota, South Dakota, nothing around here. And she's only done deals on the coast, but her rate was a bit cheaper. She also had done about a quarter of the deals that my team has done. Now, not to say that the more you do, the better you are, but think about it, Andy. The more that you and I are exposed to people, the more scenarios we see, the more products that we can offer a client. Every scenario is so unique. So we get really good at curating different things for each individual. So I think it's just incredibly important that you ask your realtor, how many deals have you done, or how many buyer sales size have you had, and ask your lender, hey, how many families do you help per month? And I think that that's telling if Google doesn't.
Yep. We're kind of like looking at the loan officer production rankings and kind of seeing and kind of knowing where that lender is, which, the average person, maybe isn't going to come right out and ask it. But, I think that's incumbent on, lenders like you, why work with me? Well, you, Kayla, you're in the top, 3-4% of lenders, across the country as an example. So I think that's important to share that, to let people know. Interestingly enough, the National Association of Realtor numbers just came out as well, Kayla, showing the number of deals per agent. And, about 93% of agents sold 9 or fewer homes. 70% of agents sold 0. Now, they do have a caveat at the bottom that says, hey, there were some agents that they may be licensed working in property management or have an administrative position, or there may be a team leader that requires everything to be under their name. But it's really, really good to know. We're up in the top 0.5%, of agents out there that are in the nation. And it's a really fun place to be, just to be out there helping people reach their goals and to be able to do so confidently. Kayla, I've got some deals going right now with some agents that don't do a lot of business, and the deals are a little bit painful in terms of communication and follow through. And frankly, our clients deserve the best.
Well, for sure. And I think too, if you ask someone, I think you're right. I don't think a lot of people are like, hey, how many deals have you done? But to just be like, on average, how many, don't be afraid to ask. And I think if people stutter or don't tell you, I also think that says something. Like, I know my numbers, I know what we're averaging because we want to help more people. But again, just telling facts, that alone. So thanks for sharing that.
Right on. Speaking of that, and speaking of agents, I know that, people in the industry, in addition to the consumer, I mean, obviously the consumer is very rate and cost sensitive right now. Just as, we've seen issues with inflation the last couple of years and higher costs of living and the like, but, we've seen rates kind of trending down. I really appreciated kind of the carousel that you did online, Kayla, where it talked about rates. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. So I think that headlines are great, right? We all love a good headline, but I think it's a real big miss when we're just sharing the headline, but we're not sharing more to it. So for example, rates did dip on January 9th, and they were right around 5.99 for a hot minute. By the end of the day, they were up above 6. But everyone was sharing, which this is the truth, that they have been the lowest that they have been. It is so true. But the other truth of that is that they were down by about 0.07% from where they were at in September and October. So the reason that I made this carousel is that a lot of clients don't realize that you cannot lock in a rate until you're in contract to buy a house, an accepted offer. A lot of people don't know how 0.25% impacts their payment. And so the reason I shared this and gave some truth was that rates change every day. In fact, they're up a little bit now, but you don't see the headline saying rates dip for 24 hours, they're back up. And I see a lot of clients, Andy, that they get excited because they saw somewhere someone posted 5.99. They then reach out to a lender and they say, hey, I'm ready to get pre-qualified. And I hear rates are at 5.99. They get pre-qualified, they have a call. Rates for their scenario are around 6.25. And then they say, I'm not going to buy until they're back down to 5.99. So I think that we need to provide clarity and context to, yes, rates are trending down. And if you were in contract or you wanted to refinance and you had an app in, you could have had your lender push the button that day. But it's just one piece of the puzzle. And so I encourage people that do share rate updates to share a little bit of context, and hopefully clients then get prepared regardless of what rates are doing. This is all positive news. It's great for confidence. It's great for affordability. If you were approved for 275, maybe you're going to be at 285 now, depending on your scenario. But I just don't want clients to read a headline and see one thing and then get discouraged because their exact scenario wasn't what they read online, because you have a unique fingerprint when it comes to a mortgage. So anyway, I shared that carousel. It had a lot of feedback, and I hope it provided some good information to our audience. So.
I'm talking muted, aren't I?
I can't hear you.
Bummer. Anyway, I was just saying, no, I think that's all in all a really good piece, and talking about the psychological piece of it as well, Kayla. just how, why people make the decisions they do is, it's kind of interesting.
Well, I ran some scenarios for clients. They hadn't applied yet, Andy, and they saw this. And then we talked, and then when they went to apply, they're like, our rate's at that 599. And I said, well, actually, on a national average, you're at like 6.06. Then some people, Andy, they won't even apply until they see that. So it's important that we as loan officers really educate our people. We as realtors say, hey, get pre-approved, get pre-qualified, whichever word you use, and have a plan so that no matter what rates are doing, when we really break it down, like a $12 a month difference for some people, they're shocked. So the people that are getting educated and empowered up front, regardless of headlines, they're the ones that are winning.
Kayla, something that you sent the Mortgage Bankers Association forecast, maybe to close with today. This is always good to look at. And again, we know that this is just a prediction, and we've seen this be very, very wrong in the past. But,
Yes.
I was sitting here this morning, Kayla, and I've been looking, like I've got a number of investment properties and a fair amount of equity at this point. And, I just had with some of these commercial loans with, the rate adjust now. And so whereas I was at about 4.5%, now I'm over 7 in several instances. And I'm like, ooh, that hurts from a cash flow standpoint. And so maybe it's time, to do some refinancing and, take maybe a little bit of cash out, and just reinvest in some other things. And so but I sit probably like the other average consumer. And of course, a commercial loan's a different animal. But when you look at, I just say, hey, is now the right time to make a move? Is it not? But when you send me these numbers and I look at them, and of course I look at the treasury yield, and I see, that's staying relatively flat. And then I look at 26 and 27. I see a lot of right around low to mid sixes, which tells me that, hey, like in my case, it probably makes sense to go and do something. And I think that this thing too, for those that are out there listening, Kayla, probably the same thing.
100%. I think, I had a call today with a client, and I said, okay, I ran the numbers, and I said, if we refinance you today, you're saving roughly $380 per month. For every month that you don't refinance, that's $380 out of your pocket. Because she was wondering, do I wait until they drop a little bit? What do I do? Just like rates can go down, they can go up. So we really have to educate our people on, hey, you know what? If you refinance now and rates drop again, yes, you can still refinance, but is it worth it? Like I had a client that was saving like $80 a month. And I'm like, I don't know if it makes sense, because there's an appraisal cost, there's title cost, there's on average $2,500, $3,000 you might see. We really have to talk about, okay, by the time we increase usually the loan amount to cover that, Andy, so that you don't have to bring that amount to your closing costs. But it's also technically a cost to you. You're just financing the cost. We just have to talk about it. So it's really hard. There's a lot of people on the fence. What do I do? I think you have to look at it as, what am I giving up per month by not refinancing versus like what's the cost of waiting versus actually going through with it. So a lot to think about.
Yeah. And if people have questions, they've got a friend in the business sitting right here, right, Kayla?
Hey, all 50 states. But maybe we do a refinance episode, because I'll be honest with you, I'll leave you with this. Refinances are a lot more difficult to articulate and to narrow down because you have so many options. Do you want to pay stuff off? Do you want to cover the closing costs? What rate do you want? And then you have to increase the loan amount to cover the cost for the rate. So it's such a moving target that it can actually confuse people. So maybe we do a refi episode in the future.
I think we should. I think it's about the right time. And I know I have some questions on refis. So, and I bet a lot of people out there do as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll put it on Kayla Calendar's calendar and Andrew Yeage's calendar.
Sounds great. Well, that puts a wrap on episode 97. Have a great week, Kayla.
I will if you will.
See ya.